Pokaniho。はい、今回も前回と同じようなフォーマットの動画です。今回のアレクの生徒からの質問はブラフでの切り抜け方だったのですが、彼の動画はですね、主に上級者のプレイ中の考え方の過程を因果関係を明確にして示してくれているところが親切で分かりやすいので、今回の動画のタイトルこそブラフの仕方なのですが、プレイ中の考え方の参考になる動画だと思ったので見てみてください。そしておかげさまで登録者数1万人を目前に、最近ですね、ポーカーを始めたばかりの視聴者の方も増えてきて、動画が難しくてわからないというメッセージもたくさんいただいたので、途中で解説を少し入れてみたので、そこまで頑張って見てみてください。はい、それではいってらっしゃい。
Okay, guys, let's jump in and let's go. We got the Ace King. All right. So far, so good. And we are in the cutoff. Gets folded around to us. Awesome. And we opened a 6 cents. I knew that was happening back from our last talk. And one of the last video I did inside the membership at Conscious Poker is about how the online poker landscape is changing because of COVID, because people are locked down in their house, okay? And more people are jumping into online poker. We're actually seeing them come into online poker in groves in record numbers. And we're going to have new players playing. And what does that mean? They're going to be amateur players that are coming into online poker. So in my last video inside the membership, which there's a free trial available, you can get access to at the link below, I talked about how to adjust to the new online poker landscape with respect, especially to pre-flop play. So I'm not going to belabor that much here, but what you need to know is that people are going to be playing more hands. They're going to be looser. They're going to be playing worse hands. So we need to be playing stronger hands and playing aggressive when we have them, and raising even bigger than you normally would to really punish a lot of these limpers and players that are playing too loose. So I like the 3x open here. I would even be fine with 4x open if you're playing at a particularly loose table with some of those players that we talked about, but 3x is totally fine. We get a call from the button. So far, so good. We're in great shape here against a button call, and let's go to the flop. Okay, the flop comes down Queen Jack 9 with 2 spades. Okay, so I'll give you my thoughts in a second, but I'd like to know what you think, and let me know your thoughts, or at least think about what they are, before I give you mine. Would you bet this flop? How much? And why or why not? So my intuition here is just to check fold, and the reason is twofold. First, it's likely that this board connected with my opponent in some way. They'll have a hand that's strong enough to call this flop often enough that betting is not directly profitable, meaning they're not going to fold often enough for a bet to be profitable. Now, the second reason I don't like betting is because if you take that one step further, there's not that many good turn cards for us to bet. Like, what are we going to do? If the turn's a 4, we're just going to bet again. We're kind of flying blind here. Like, we don't know where we're at. We don't know if our opponent's going to fold the turn. It's kind of like, you made an investment, it went down a little bit. Before you want to lose the rest of your money, you save what you have, right? And that's kind of the situation we're in here. I don't like losing, but what I like less than losing is losing more than I need to lose. So I feel like we're in that spot here, but I know something's got to happen. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sending me this hand. I know you didn't check fold here. So that much I know. I love you, Mac. All right, so we get a 6 cent bet. Okay, so the first thing you want to think about is how big is the bet and how big is the pot. Okay, so the pot is 15 cents, the bet is 6 cents, the total pot is 21 cents, right? The pot odds we're getting is 21 divided by 6, which is about 3.5 to 1. Now you'll know your break-even point is 1 out of 4.5, which means you need about 25% equity. You'll know exactly by memorizing this simple chart what odds you need to be getting to justify calling. So the answer here, if you want to do it longhand, if you followed along, is you add up the pot and the bet and you divide by the size the bet and you just get your ratio. So you say, okay, well, it's 21 cents, I'm calling 6 cents, I'm getting 3.5 to 1. Do I have the right price to justify calling?
はい、ここでちょっと頭が混乱している人もいるかと思うので、一緒に考えていきたいと思います。ポットオッズを求める式はリスク割るリスクと現在のポット額の和なので、ここでのリスクというのはコールに必要な額、つまり6セントなので、ここではポットオッズは約 22% だということがわかります。 ここでアレクが言っているのは、コールするかフォールドするかの判断は、エクイティがポッドオッズより大きいときはオッズに合うと言ってコールが正当化され、ポッドオッズがエクイティより大きいときはオッズに合わないということで、チェックフォールドが最善の選択だと考えられます。次にエクイティの計算なのですが、方法1はチャートを丸暗記しちゃうということで、大体暗記するといいですね。で、方法2に、これは簡単なので覚えておいた方がいいんですけど、4と2の法則を使うっていうことです。まず次の2枚のうちにって書いてあるんですけど、次の2枚のうちにっていうことはターンとリバーが見れるってことですよね。なのでフロップの時点でドローを引く確率、例えばストレートとかフラッシュとかを完成する確率っていうのはアウツ ×4 をしてあげます。で、次の1枚でドローを引く確率、つまりターンが開いてる状態で次にリバーでドローを引ける確率はアウツ ×2 をしてあげます。これがさっき丸暗記しちゃえばいいって言ってたチャートなんですけど、これもコンシャスポーカーから拝見したんですが、でもこれアウツが8枚以上になるとちょっとずれてきちゃうらしいんですね。例えば10枚の時にフロップではここでは 43% になってますけど、普通に考えて 10×4 で 40% なんで、4と2の法則を使って出た数字より少し高めになるっていう風に目安として使ってもらえばいいと思います。そして今回のハンドに戻ってみると、フロップの時点でアウツが4枚だったので、4と2の法則を使うと 4×4 で 16% というふうにエクイティを出すことができ、出したポッドオッズが 22% だったので、今回の場合はポッドオッズの方が大きいので、ここはチェックフォールドが正しい選択だというふうに考えることができます。はい、それではビデオに戻ります。
And if your chance of winning is greater than the odds you're getting, you call. Again, if the chance you have of winning is greater than the odds you're getting, you call. It's pretty simple, pretty fundamental concept to understand. The key is knowing how to work through the mechanism. So I don't think we're going to win this pot 20, 25% of the time. I would maybe change my mind if we had a spade. Okay? Now, if I had a spade, I would have a better chance of winning. That's obvious. I think everybody's on the same page. If we had a spade, we can backdoor spades and hit a flush. You're like, duh, I get why that's good. But what having a spade does for you is it gives you options in the hand. Because if you had the ace of spades, for example, and a spade comes, you can turn your hand into a bluff because you know your opponent cannot have the nut flush. So you're bluffing into a weaker range of hands from your opponent because you have what's called a blocker, a card that prevents your opponent from having the nuts. You can use that to your advantage by either, leading out if a spade comes or check raising if a spade comes or something. You give yourself options. So I think that would make the difference here. If I had a spade, I would call, A, because I have a backdoor flush draw. So I just have more equity. I have more chance of winning the hand. But I also have more chances of outplaying my opponent because I can bluff more profitably if a spade comes, okay? So there's two reasons why, and it's important to understand that second one because that's the one that's kind of understated a lot of the time. So I would fold here, but I'm assuming you didn't because you sent me this hand. So again, it's not a terrible mistake calling the flop. It's marginal. Okay, it's you only need 20-25% equity. You probably have 15%. So it is quite close. So the turn comes to 7. I'm assuming we go check here because I think we're going to get away from this turn facing a bet. But let's see. Check. And he check. No, he bets. Okay, so now going back to the same logic we talked about on the flop, the pot is 33 cents, right? The pot plus the bet. Okay, so 27 plus 6, 33 cents. We're calling 6 cents. So 33 divided by 6 is about 5.5. So we only need like maybe 15% equity, I'm rounding, but let's just keep the math simple. We only need 15% chance of winning. If I did call the flop, I would call the turn just because, if I decide to go left down a road, I'm going left. Not that I'm stubborn and never change my mind. Sometimes I actually turn around and go the other way. But if I decided that on the flop I had enough equity, this is the same equation here. You have you're getting twice as good of a price, and there's only one card to come. So the equation is the same. So I would call here, but it's marginal. Again, it's not like I'm high-fiving the dealer. Okay, so now the weak check call, and I'm assuming something spicy's coming because that's why you sent me this. So it's, what would you do on the river and why? And leave the comment before you see the results, okay?
まだの方はチャンネル登録と高評価お願いします。
All right, so I actually am going back to my flop thesis here. If I had a spade, like the ace of spades, I actually wouldn't really mind bluffing here because, this is one of the worst hands we're going to wind up with. No pair on the river. It's hard to have a worse hand than this. And if we had a spade, we would know our opponent can't have the nut flush. He can't have ace 10. Ace king, he would have raised preflop, so he can't have ace king of spades. Ace 10, ace 9, the 9's on the board. Ace 10, ace 8, ace 7, ace 6, ace 5, ace 4, ace 3, ace deuce. 8 combos of spades he can't have. So it's 8 combos of hands that our opponent cannot have, 8 combos that we could have. So it's way less likely he has a flush. And then, of course, he can't have a queen high flush, a jack high flush, a 9 high flush. And I would actually like a bet here on the river. And I would probably bet big because I would be representing a flush or nothing. So I would want to bet big to make it hard for my opponent to call. I would want to make it difficult. So, but because I don't have that spade, I'm just shooting in the dark. I have no idea where I'm at. Like, he can have a flush. He bet the flop. He bet the turn. Why can't he have a flush? I don't have any information about his hand to know whether or not he has a flush. I'm just guessing. And I don't really like guessing when I'm betting a lot of money relative to the pot. I don't just like betting the size of the pot on a prayer because that's gambling. I don't really like to gamble. I like to make bets where I know I'm a favorite. So I wouldn't bet here. I would just give this pot up. But I'm assuming we didn't, I'm assuming something happens here because, okay, we bet half the pot. So if I did bet here, I would bet the full pot because we want to put our opponent in a really tough spot, okay? We don't want him to be getting 3-1, which is what odds he's getting here. We don't want him to have an easy decision with a queen and just be like, well, I'm getting a good price, I'll just call. Or a jack and be like, whatever, it's one bet, I get to see his hand. Let's jump into the results here and see what happens. He calls 20 cents and he has tens. Oh man, tens with no spade. Okay, so this tells me that this type of opponent is not the player to bluff, okay? This bluff is actually gonna have, no success frequency because if he's calling with tens, he's also gonna call with a jack and he's also gonna call with a queen. So this is not the type of opponent to bluff. Since you're playing online, I would actually make a note about this player that he's not a good player to bluff. And in the future, I would value bet against him more often. So I would bet bigger with marginal hands for value to exploit his tendency to call too often. Stay safe, be well, social distance. I'll see you in the next one.